Hello everyone, it's Mrs. Hinde-Taylor from Merchant Secondary. If you're at a loss of something to do of an evening, I thought I would share with you one of my favourite young adult books. It's a book called Half a King. The author's someone called Joe Abercrombie. I've actually had the privilege of meeting him. He's quite a cool guy. And I actually bought it without realising it's a young adult novel, but it's brilliant. It's part of a trilogy, and if you kind of like your fantasy stuff or tales of revenge, then this might be right up your street. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of it. I'm going to read it in chapters because it's quite a lengthy book. But so it's called Half King by Joe Abercrombie. So this is the blurb. So it says, Prince Yarvi has vowed to regain his throne. First, he must survive cruelty, chains, and the bitter waters of the shattered sea, and he must do it all with only one good hand. The deceived will become the deceiver. Born a weakling in the eyes of the world, Yarvi cannot grip a shield or swing an axe, so he must sharpen his mind to a deadly edge. The betrayed will become the betrayer. Gathering a strange fellowship of the outcasts, he finds they can help him more than any noble could. Will the usurped become the usurper? Even with loyal friends at his side, Yarvi's path may end as it began, in twists and traps and the death of a king. And we've got a beautiful map here that I might refer to at some point later in the book. Anyway, so part 1, The Black Chair. Chapter 1, The Greater Good. There was a harsh gale blowing on the night Yarvi learned he was a king, or half a king at least. A seeking wind, the Gettlanders called it, for it found out every chink and keyhole, moaning Mother Sea's dead chill into every dwelling, no matter how high the fires were banked or how close the folk were huddled. It tore at the shutters in the narrow windows of Mother Gundring's chambers, and rattled even the iron-bound door in its frame. It taunted the flames in the fire pit, and they spat and crackled in their anger, casting clawing shadows from the dried herbs hanging, throwing flickering light upon the root that Mother Gundring held up in her knobbled fingers. And this? It looked like nothing so much as a clod of dirt, but Yarvi had learned better. Black-tongue root. And why might a minister reach for it, my prince? A minister hopes they won't have to. Boiled in water, it can't be seen or tasted, but it is a most deadly poison. Mother Gundring tossed the root aside. Ministers must sometimes reach for dark things. Ministers must find the lesser evil, said Yarvi, and weigh the greater good. 5 right from 5. Mother Gundring gave a single approving nod, and Yarvi flushed with pride. The approval of Gettland's minister was not easily won. And the riddles on the test will be easier. The test. Yarvi rubbed nervously at the crooked palm of his bad hand with the thumb of his good. You will pass. You can't be sure. It is a minister's place always to doubt, but always to seem certain, he finished for her. See, I know you. And that was true. No one knew him better, even in his own family. Especially in his own family. I have never had a sharper pupil. You will pass at the first asking. And I'll be Prince Yarvi no more. All he felt at that thought was relief. I'll have no family, and no birthright. You will be Brother Yarvi, and your family will be the ministry. The firelight found the creases around Mother Gundring's eyes as she smiled. Your birthright will be the plants and the books and the soft words spoken. You will remember and advise, heal and speak truth. Know the secret ways and smooth the path to farther peace in every tongue, as I have tried to do. There is no nobler work, whatever nonsense the muscle-smothered fools spout in the training square. The muscle-smothered fools are harder to ignore when you're in the square with them. Huh. She curled her tongue and spat into the fire. Once you pass the test, you only need to go there to tend a broken head when the play gets too rough. One day you will carry my staff. She nodded towards the tapered length of studded and slotted elf metal, which leaned against the wall. One day you will sit beside the black chair and be Father Yarvi. Father Yarvi. He squirmed on his stool at that thought. I lack the wisdom. He meant he lacked the courage, but lacked the courage to admit it. Wisdom can be learned, my prince. He held his left hand, such as it was, up to the light. And hands? Can you teach those? You may lack a hand, but the gods have given you rarer gifts." He snorted. "My fine singing voice, you mean? Well, why not? And a quick mind, and empathy, and strength. Only the kind of strength that makes a great minister rather than a great king. You have been touched by Father Peace, Yarvi. Always remember, strong men are many, wise men are few." No doubt why women make better ministers. And better tea, in general. Gundring slurped from the cup he brought her every evening and nodded approval. Again, "But the making of tea is another of your mighty talents." Hero's work indeed. Will you give me less flattery when I've turned from prince into minister? You will get such flattery as you deserve, and my foot in your arse the rest of the time." Yarvi sighed. Some things never change. Now, to history. Mother Gundring slid one of the books from its shelf, stone set into the gilded spine winking red and green. "Now? I have to be up with Mother Sun to feed your doves. I was hoping to get some sleep before—" "I'll let you sleep when you've passed the test." No, you won't." "You're right, I won't." She licked one finger, ancient paper crackling as she turned the pages. "Tell me, my prince, into how many splinters did the elves break God?" 409. The 400 small gods, the 6 tall gods, the first man and woman, and Death, who guards the last door. But isn't this more the business of a prayer weaver than a minister? Mother Gundring clicked her tongue. "All knowledge is the business of the minister, for only what is known can be controlled. Name the 6 tall gods. Mother Sea and Father Earth, Mother Sun and Father Moon, Mother War and—" The door banged wide, and that seeking wind tore through the chamber. The flames in the fire pit jumped as Yarvi did, dancing distorted in the hundred jars and bottles on the shelves. A figure blundered up the steps, setting the bunches of plants swinging like hanged men behind him. It was Yarvi's uncle Odin, hair plastered to his pale face with the rain and his chest heaving. He stared at Yarvi, eyes wide, and opened his mouth, but made no sound. One needed no gift of empathy to see he was weighed down by heavy news. "What is it?" croaked Yarvi, his throat tight with fear. His uncle dropped to his knees, hands on the greasy straw. He bowed his head and spoke 2 words, low and raw. "My king." And Yarvi knew his father and brother were dead. Okay, so that's chapter 1. I'll try and record a chapter every night. I hope you enjoyed it and stay tuned. Thanks.